Corey,
What's up, dude?
not much. How you doing, my man?
Oh, just drinking coffee and, living my best life.
In the pandemic world, right?
Exactly, man.
Dude, before we have a ton of questions from everybody out there that will have questions for you. A lot want to talk about the new record and stuff. The first thing I thought of, I was like, wow, the first two songs are incredible. I'm really pumped for the record. But is it weird for you to put out new music, have an album coming out, and you really don't know what the future holds? It's like we don't know when touring's going to start again. Was that something in the back of your mind?
I mean, no, not really. I mean, I just, I moved it up. This was something obviously I was going to do in January anyway. And I just was
Mm-hmm.
like, I can, take advantage of the downtime and try and do it as smart as possible, as safe as possible, and just, just kind of just jump in and get it done. I mean, we were just excited to do it. We didn't really even think about touring or anything. It was just like, just do it and go for it,
And as a fan, I mean, it's like, so many people and so many artists that put stuff on hold, whether it be music, television, movies. It's like once I saw that you had some new music coming, I'm like, it just feels good to hear something new.
Right, right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's, honestly, that's been the best reaction. Everybody's so stoked about it. Everybody's into the vibe of it. Everybody gets the positive vibe. Even some of the elitists have been into it. They're like, I don't know if I should like this, but I do. And I'm like, aha, see, I got you.
I don't know if you pay attention to any of those reaction videos like on YouTube.
Dude, there are so many of them. It's ridiculous.
Have you seen the two rocking Grammys? Have you seen the grandmas?
Yes, me and the wife just watched that one last night. It was so cute, dude. They were like, you could see them, like they were both watching, and they were, oh. And everybody does, no matter what age, they all say the same thing. They go, "Was that Ronnie? Was that
Yes.
Ronnie?" They all say the same thing. It's amazing. It's so good.
And the fact that they knew baby metal. I was like, these grandmas are the grandmas I wish I had.
Yeah, they totally do. I know, right? It's crazy.
I think my favorite was like right when you cursed, the eyes lit up on one of the grandmas. I'm like, oh, we're in for a treat.
I was like, oh, you're unpacking a lot, man. This is ridiculous.
And I even wrote down one of the quotes I thought after she heard the beginning and the chorus, and she's just like, I think this is just awesome. I'm like, oh my gosh.
So good.
That one made my day. That was pretty awesome. So let's jump into a bunch of the questions because there's been a ton of great questions through radio.com. People wanted to talk to you. Trevor on Facebook said, Corey, I'm loving the first two songs that you released. I'm a huge fan of all your music, and I love that these songs sound nothing like a Stone Sour or a Slipknot song. Was that a conscious effort to make sure that your solo stuff doesn't resemble the stuff of your other bands?
I don't know if it was conscious, but I mean that it made the most sense, I mean, obviously, people know by now that these songs are all songs that I've had over the years, going back, some of this stuff going back 15, 20 years. And the reason I had these songs sitting around is because they didn't fit with either band. So putting this together for the solo thing, it was obviously not going to sound like either band because they didn't fit with them in the past to begin with, So, I mean, for me, it just made more sense to try and use these songs for the solo thing, readily available, ready to go, like, really cool, and just kind of go from there.
Question about the world of wrestling, because dude, the first thing I noticed on the album cover is that you have, and also in the music video, you're rocking the most incredible CMFT championship title. And I thought that was pretty badass.
Yeah, of course.
And somebody says, Adam, he says, I love the CMFT wrestling title. If you were to create a CMFT wrestling federation, what wrestler, past or present, would you want to be the champion?
Oh, man. That's a good question. Living or dead, I would put my title on Roddy Piper.
Yes.
Because he was the king, and he never held a title, man. I don't know if not in the WWE anyway. I think for a second they were thinking about making him Intercontinental champion, but I mean, without Roddy Piper, you don't have Hulk Hogan. You don't have the pop of Hulkamania because your hero is only as strong as the bad guy. You know what I'm saying? And so for me, like he would have been the one to really put the strap on and carry that, because he would have been the shit. He would have been the best talker. He would have been the best.
Yep.
I mean, super, like, it would have been rad,
Oh yeah, absolutely. Having that guy, and I think he just recently is like the anniversary of his passing. So I saw so many people posting old videos. I'm like, gosh, man,
Right.
we'll never have someone as epic as that guy again. Somebody wanted to know, how cool is it to play music, and it's from Marcy, and have pyro go off while you're performing? And also in the video, there's a lot of pyro going on. What is it like for you?
I mean, there's that part of you that's like, is it going to work? And then there's that part that's, because you just never know. I mean, this stuff, it can be very dangerous sometimes. But it's rad. I mean, when you watch it back, it's so much better than when you're actually even in the moment,
Mm-hmm.
In the video, I don't know if a lot of people know this, but that's my wife's dance crew, the Cherry Bombs, doing all the fire and stuff. That's her actually blowing fire, my wife. It's
awesome.
Yeah, man. She's my red-haired dragon. She's amazing. So I literally got her in the video like a week before. I was just like, could you guys come up with some stuff for the video? And the director DJ was just like, yeah, dude, that'd be rad. So we, we quick made some calls. Like, she put something together in a week. I mean, that's how good she is. It was pretty rad.
And what a fun video. And not only having all the crazy visuals with the fire, but then towards the end, you have all these great cameos, and you did it it was a great nod to what we're dealing with right now, the Zoom technology or Instagram Live when it doesn't fail on us.
Right, exactly.
So many cameos. Like I mentioned, I'm a big wrestling guy, and we share a mutual friend in Baron Corbin, so I geeked out seeing Baron in there, which is awesome.
Right.
Corey Graves, Chris Jericho. But I mean, there was just a who's who, like, Baby Metal, Cats, Radkey as well, Scotty. And was there a favorite one that surprised you that said yes to doing it, or was it just you just going through your Rolodex and asking all your friends to be a part of this?
I mean, honestly, something like that, there's a little bit of a nerve-wracking moment of, who's going to say yes, But I mean, some of these guys obviously are friends. Some of these guys are acquaintances who I have massive respect for. And then some of these guys are people I've never even met who are just fans, which was cool. I had my management really reach out to everybody and see if they would be into it. And pretty much everybody said yes, which I was blown away by. I think my favorite, there's so many rad people in the video, Manson and Halford didn't have to say yes, but they were so cool to do it. But my favorite is the fact that my son's in it, that made my day. And he filmed it himself and sent it to me. Like, he snuck into this abandoned house over by over by where he lives. And it was like, he just kept sending me these weird videos of hitting stuff with a pipe. And I'm like, what are you doing? What? It was ridiculous. So yeah, it was pretty rad.
We got a quick question from Marcus. It says, yo, CMFT, how does living through the pandemic and all this stuff impact your creativity? And with being in the public eye, do you think you would experience backlash if you talked about your mental health just in the public forums?
No, well, just with the first half of that, I'm kind of like with everybody else, just kind of seeing what I can do, basically, for me, the good side of doing this has meant securing jobs for my friends, and really, that was kind of a big thing for me, was being able to provide a paycheck for friends of mine. That's something that I've been trying to do also with the charity work, is donating to various charities that are actually trying to help people who don't know what's going on. So that was a good side of this. I don't know if it's hindered my creativity, but it's definitely made me kind of reevaluate what the future holds. I don't think any of us can really take anything for granted anymore. As far as mental health and mental illness, I've been a massive advocate for a very long time of trying to get people to understand that we need to lift that stigma. You know, it's important for people to get help. You know, when people feel like they can't get any help, that's when they isolate and that's when they hurt themselves. And for me, I have been a massive advocate of telling people, find what works. If it's medication, it's medication. If it's therapy, it's therapy. If it's both, it's both. But don't be afraid to try both. You know, there's nothing wrong with admitting that you need help. In fact, if you don't admit that you need help, you're actually making the problem worse. You know, I've been doing therapy now, I mean, at least 7 years, you know, and, you know, I've tried to, you know, really kind of come to grips with the manic depression, the physical depression that comes with it, trying to deal with that, also exacerbated by addiction and things. I mean, it's a strong issue, but I feel like the more we talk about it, the more people don't feel like they have to hide it, you know? And I also don't want to feel like it's a bandwagon thing because, you know, obviously a lot of people are so quick to point out, you know, a mental illness here and there, or like try to create one, and then basically minimalizing people who actually have mental illness. So for me, it's really about kind of just staying the course and taking it very seriously and trying to alleviate the guilt or the perceived guilt, you know, the shame that
I think so often we'll
feel.
Once you feel comfortable saying it out loud and then knowing that other people relate to this, I'm not alone anymore.
Exactly. And when you say it out loud, you give power to that. You know, now it's not this ethereal, esoteric feeling in your head that you can't understand. You've said it out loud. Now you've made it physical. Now you can start a dialogue because you've suddenly made it something that you can get your hands around, wrap your head around, you know?
Following with that, Rachel wrote in saying, I was wondering, with the stress that we're all going through with the pandemic, et cetera, mental health as well, what is your go-to for keeping your mind right during these weird times?
I mean, it can be as easy as sitting down and playing piano and writing, or just trying to, you know, reconnect with my family, basically. You know, I mean, for me, sometimes I can get a little too far off the ranch, you know, in my own head, you know, and that's the problem with depression, is that you can spin yourself out without even realizing it. You know, you can go down a mental path that really leads you to a black hole of just, you know, maybe just kind of tearing yourself apart. And for me, the tether that has always kept me a little closer has been my family. You know, as much as they drive me crazy, they're also the whole reason that it's a good touchstone to have, because you can come back to it and you can reevaluate and you can realize that, you know, one of the reasons why you work so hard is your family. One of the reasons why you try to keep your head together and keep your stuff together is your family. One of the things that gives you pure joy is being with your family. So I try to kind of tap dance between the two, you know, whereas, you know, it's a good open time to kind of be creative, you know, and hopefully not at the expense of other people's whatever, but at the same time, really trying to take advantage of the time that I have with my family. Because this is the longest I've been off the road in 20 years, you know. I mean, I don't think I've ever been off the road this long. And it's, you know, it's something that it's taken me a second to kind of get used to. But, I mean, it's also, there's also the good side to it, you know.
You mentioned playing the piano sometimes just to get your mind right. Is there a piano cover or just like a certain song that you always, it's like your go-to? Like I play drums and sometimes I'll get behind the kit and I'll just start the opening riff to Strutter or the opening drum beat to Strutter just because it gives me a chuckle. But for you, like you get behind the piano, you like tickling the ivories and like doing a little Home Sweet Home, or what gets into your mind when you get that moment to play the piano?
The first song that I ever really kind of learned to play and felt confident playing was "I Got the Blues" by Rolling Stones.
Nice.
And it was a simple. It was because it was a simple chord progression, and I was at the time still kind of trying to dial in the you know, where the notes were, where the chords were, where the keys were, and yeah, that was the first one that I really felt confident kind of playing through and really nailing it. But the whole reason I learned piano was so I could record one of the songs is actually on my solo album, Home, which is a song I wrote for my wife. So,
oh, nice.
Yeah. I wrote it on guitar, but then realized that I wanted to record it on piano. So I spent 2.5 years teaching myself how to play piano just so I could record it.
Did you watch like YouTube videos on how to learn it? Or
No,
because
no,
you know how to play the guitar and
yeah, basically.
Yeah.
I mean, when you're easy, because I have a almost perfect pitch, so I can tell what key and what note something is just by hearing it. And that's one of the reasons why I taught myself guitar, and was able to kind of figure out those notes. But because I could kind of cue off that, I learned the notes on the piano and then just kind of taught myself the chords.
Awesome. Well, I know you got to get running, and I don't want to keep you much longer, but the album's coming out October 2nd, titled CMFT. Yep. Besides the 2 songs that we've heard, and now you also told us a little bit about Home, other songs, or what can we expect? I mean, I feel like, because like Black Eyed Blue is like almost like a timeless song in the sense that you could pop that in the 70s, 80s, 90s, or now.
Right.
And that's got that cool, like, you know, just anthemic sound to it. Right. But what else can we look forward to on this upcoming record?
There is tons of cool stuff on this album, man. There's kind of there's like rockabilly country, there's punk, there's 80s glam rock. I mean, there's hardcore punk, there's little, you know, hints of like jazzy kind of you know, rockabilly vibes. I mean, there's so many different things because there's just so many different types of music that I like to listen to, and then by that, you know, adversely just like to write. So I you know, the overall feeling is fun. The overall feeling is a party album that you put on and you listen to it and you just feel good about music. It doesn't have to be serious all the time. It doesn't have to have a meaning. It can just make you shake your ass, basically, you know?
And as some people have said, I saw a comment, CMFT Must Be Stopped would be the ultimate wrestling theme song if you ever became a professional wrestler.
I know. I realized that. I was just like, you know what? And now it's got me spinning. So I'm like, well, now I got to find, you know, I got to start using that clean version so I can really start promoting it, you know?
Absolutely. And do you keep the championship title anywhere on display in your house?
It's hidden.
Okay.
It's hidden. So nobody can come in and be like, well, I'm just going to take this. No, hell no. Nobody takes the title until they get in the ring.
Well, Corey, appreciate you taking some time out. Sorry about the technical difficulties.
But, it's all right, man. Hey, it's all good. I appreciate it.
Yeah. Thanks for being a part of Fandemic here on radio.com. We'll talk to you soon.
All right. See later, guys.
Thanks for watching. If you liked the video, make sure to like and subscribe and hit that bell for all notifications from radio.com. While you're at it, why don't you check out some of our other great videos.